My gold digger fiancée had her lawyer send a prenup that would leave me broke while she took everything. When I refused to sign, she sent me a text I'll never forget. So, imagine being with someone for 5 years, planning a whole wedding, and then out of nowhere, getting dumped through a text message. Yep, that was me. After getting that lovely surprise, I just replied with a simple interesting and decided to sue for the $34,000 I had already dropped on wedding deposits. Her lawyer couldn't get in touch with mine fast enough once they got those court papers. Hey everyone, before we dive into this wild story, I really need your help. Our channel isn't doing so hot right now, and hitting that subscribe button is one of the coolest ways to support us. It's quick, free, and seriously helps us keep bringing you more awesome content. Your support means everything, so let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks a ton. Now let's get into this crazy tale. So, I'm a 33-year-old guy who used to think these kinds of dramatic stories were just for people needing therapy over Reddit, but here I am, typing it all out. Funny how life throws curveballs. I've been stuck with this mess for months, and I figured, why not let strangers in on the show? So, I was engaged to Amber, a 31-year-old woman. We were together for 5 whole years and had been engaged for almost a year. Our wedding was set for 3 months away, and everything was locked and loaded, the venue, the caterer, the photographer, you name it. I'd paid around $34,000 in deposits, but who's counting? I was pumped to marry the woman I loved. We were that couple, you know? Best friends, partners in crime, with our stupid inside jokes and long debates about movies. Amber planned these awesome date nights, and I'd surprise her with her favorite takeout when she had a rough day. We just fit. We met at a friend's birthday party. I was fiddling with the sound system when she walked in with a cheesecake that looked straight out of a bakery. Caught me staring, and she goes, "Don't worry, I'll save you the biggest piece." I was hooked. We talked all night, swapped numbers, and the rest was history. Our first year was all rom-com vibes, couldn't keep our hands off each other, texting nonstop, the whole deal. But here's the kicker, the honeymoon phase never ended. Year 2, 3, 4, we were still head over heels. After year 3, we decided she'd move in with me. It just felt right, no drama, just 2 goofballs making breakfast and arguing over Netflix. Then, about 6 months ago, things got weird. Not in your face weird, but subtle, like when you hear a noise at home and can't tell if it's a ghost or just the fridge. Little things, suddenly Amber's got a password on her phone, networking events popping up, and way too much interest in my financials. Meanwhile, I couldn't even glance at her maxed out credit card statements without her freaking out. I joked about her being a secret agent, and she laughed it off, but soon she's sneaking off for phone calls and leaving her phone face down. My gut was screaming, something's up, dude, and wouldn't quit no matter how hard I tried to ignore it. Then there's Diane, Amber's mom. Intense doesn't even cover it. Imagine a helicopter parent meets drill sergeant meets Disney villain. At first, I thought her nosiness was just protective mom stuff. She'd quiz me about my job, my family, even childhood pets. She had a habit of suggesting that Amber and I do grown-up things like adding her to my house deed before the wedding. My house, the one I bought with my money long before Amber came along. And sure, let's just hand over half of it because Diane thinks her daughter deserves it. Meanwhile, Greg, Amber's dad, was a quiet dude, permanently glued to whatever game was on TV, probably to escape Diane's demands. Things kept adding up in my mind, so I decided to play it safe. Moved some savings around, changed passwords, just in case. Maybe I was paranoid, but something felt off. Then out of nowhere, Amber was all about starting a luxury candle business. Just needed $50,000 to get rolling, no biggie, right? Since when was this on me? I was always supportive, cheering her on when she moved from marketing to PR, and even when she took a pricey course last year. But this candle thing? It wasn't her dream, it was our retirement plan. Maybe I was reading too much into it, maybe it was pre-wedding nerves, but that pit in my stomach wouldn't go away. Then came the networking dinner with potential investors. She got all dolled up, extra perfume and everything. It didn't feel like a business meeting outfit. I asked casually, "Who's this investor again?" She said, "Just someone from my network," avoiding eye contact. I'm not proud, but I followed her. I needed answers. Parked down the block from this fancy restaurant where she was supposed to meet them. Through the window, I saw her. So, I was stuck behind this decorative partition, trying to get a look at who Amber was meeting. I only caught glimpses, a guy with dark hair, wearing a nice suit. What really grabbed my attention was how Amber kept switching up her behavior. One moment she was all business, sitting up straight and gesturing like she does in work meetings. Then, Out of nowhere, she'd lean in, laugh a bit too loudly, and play with her necklace, which she only does when she's trying to impress someone. At one point, she reached across the table, but I couldn't see why, maybe passing a document, maybe something else. Nothing blatantly inappropriate happened, no kissing or hand-holding, but something felt off. Little things that wouldn't stand out to most people, but after 5 years together, I noticed. I left before they finished dinner, feeling a bit paranoid. Maybe it was just business, maybe I was making up problems. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. The next evening, Amber showed up with a completely different vibe. She made my favorite dinner, wore that black dress I always compliment, and kept touching my arm. It was a total 180 from how distant she'd been lately. She said, "Babe, I've been thinking," and opened her laptop to show me some business slides. "We're going to be amazing business partners, you handle the finances, and I'll be the face of the brand." I was like, "Since when are you into starting a business?" Because just last month, she was all about getting a promotion she didn't get. She barely missed a beat, saying this was bigger than that job. With my investment skills and her marketing background, she said we could retire by 40. She leaned in, saying we should set up a business account after the wedding, maybe start with $60,000. $60,000 for candles? I asked. Luxury candles, she corrected, smiling in a way that seemed more forced. The dinner, the dress, the sudden affection, it all felt like a performance for this convenient business idea that needed my money. I asked, "Why candles? And why wait until after the wedding?" She quickly changed the subject to some Netflix show, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, barely slept that night. Then, out of nowhere, I get this email from a law firm about a prenup from Sterling Knight. Not from Amber, her lawyer. A lawyer I didn't even know existed until that moment. I read the document, and my stomach twisted. It wasn't just a prenup to protect assets, it was strategic and predatory. Basically, anything we earned during marriage would be hers if we divorced, my income, investments, everything. Plus, I had to fund her business ventures, or I'd be in breach of marital duty. It was clear, they wanted to set me up as the funding source. I called my lawyer, who after reading it said it was the most predatory prenup he'd ever seen. "Don't sign this garbage," he said, and sent a firm hell no response. That evening, Amber texted me, saying her parents wanted to discuss wedding details over dinner. A big part of me wanted to bail, but I needed to see where this was going. So I went. As soon as I sat down, Diane, Amber's mom, jumped right in. "Amber mentioned you got the prenup," she said, smiling tightly. She went on about how it's what smart couples do, comparing it to car insurance. "Standard stuff," Amber added, reaching for my hand. I pulled away, saying, "Standard? Having all marital assets become your property is standard?" It was clear Diane had a prepared speech for this. She said Amber would have to make sacrifices for our marriage, like career opportunities if we had kids. I told them this wasn't protection, it was financial hostage-taking. Diane's friendly mask slipped, and she leaned in. "If you don't sign this prenup, there will be no wedding," she said flatly. Amber tried to intervene, but Diane cut her off. "We're protecting Amber, and if you walk away, don't expect to see a penny of what you've spent on deposits." Amber looked at me, but there was something different in her eyes. She said it wasn't a big deal and accused me of hiding something. Classic manipulation. Diane chimed in, saying she never thought I was good enough for Amber anyway. Amber didn't defend me, just nodded along, revealing how they'd discussed this before. Diane even criticized my house, calling it less than suitable for raising children. It dawned on me that this engagement, those family dinners, they were all fake. I was never truly part of their family, just a means to an end. "So, you were planning on leveling up once you hooked into our network, huh?" Amber shot back when I finally questioned what she meant by connections. She gave me this look like I was being totally clueless. "Come on, Travis, don't play dumb," she snapped. "You know it's my family's pull that got you where you are. Remember that promotion last year? My dad put in a good word with his golfing buddy. And that new client? Yeah, my mom vouched for you. Did you really think it was all your talent?" This was news to me. It felt like an insult to all my late nights and hard work. Hearing them casually take credit for my achievements made my blood boil. I stood up, leaving my meal untouched. "Where do you think you're going?" Amber barked at me like I was some kid sneaking away from the dinner table. I just replied, "None of your business." Then Diane chimed in, trying to boss me around, saying, "Sign the prenup or the wedding's off. Simple as that. And if you chicken out, I'll make sure everyone knows you got cold feet. Your reputation won't survive it." I let out a genuine laugh, which seemed to throw both of them off their game. Threaten my reputation to who, exactly? Diane turned beet red. Just laying out the facts. Your move. So let me lay out some facts, I said, keeping my cool. That prenup is a joke, and your intimidation tactics are pathetic. Diane looked like she was out of words. Greg, who'd been staring at the tablecloth the whole time, suddenly found it even more interesting. Not used to people standing up to you, huh? I grabbed my keys. I'll think it over, I said, walking out, ignoring Amber shouting my name. The drive home was a blur, my mind reeling. How did I miss this? 5 years with Amber, and it felt like I didn't know her at all. I spent the next day rummaging through old photos, texts, emails, trying to spot any red flags I might have overlooked. Was she always like this, and I just didn't see it? Or did something change? Then, 2 days later, I got a text from Amber. Your lawyer's response shows you don't trust me or our future. The wedding's off. I stared at my phone as those 3 dots popped in and out, proof that she was typing and deleting more messages. I expected heartbreak, 5 years, gone, but instead, I felt this cold clarity. They showed their cards, realized I wasn't backing down, and decided to cash out. This wasn't about love or trust, it was about my bank account. The $34,000 I'd already spent on non-refundable wedding deposits, the house they wanted her name on, the future income they were planning on benefiting from through some business plan. My response was simple: we need to talk about the deposits. She left me on read. Of course, she did. The prenup scam had flopped, but they were still planning on taking my $34,000 in wedding bills. Not happening. I called my lawyer about the venue, the photographer, the caterer, the band, all $34,200 of it from my account. I wanted it back. He sent a demand letter with all the receipts, giving them 15 days to pay up. 3 days later, their lawyer came back with an offer of $8,000 as a gesture of goodwill. My lawyer didn't even bother with a direct reply, just reiterated our demand for the full amount. Then came the family guilt trip. Her mom rang up my parents, saying I broke Amber's heart and was being petty about some cash. Amber's sister texted me, claiming I never loved her if I was nitpicking over money. The irony of them calling me greedy was almost laughable. 2 weeks later, their offer bumped up to $15,000. They're testing your resolve, my lawyer said. Hold firm. And so I did. This wasn't just about the money now, it was about the principle. They tried to screw me over with that prenup nonsense, and now they wanted half of my deposits? Nope, not on my watch. After another week of legal wrangling, they came back with a final offer of $22,000, claiming it was their best shot. Nope, still not cutting it. I told my lawyer they had to give back every single penny. Are you sure? He asked. Litigation will cost more than the difference. I don't care, I said. They don't get to win, not even a little bit. Then Amber showed up at my place in tears. This is all just a misunderstanding, she said, her voice shaky. Mom was just trying to protect me. We can draft a new prenup together. Suddenly, a memory hit me. Who's the guy from the restaurant, Amber? Her face went pale. What, the investor you had dinner with last week? That's just a business contact. I can't believe you followed me. That's psycho behavior. I didn't respond. Her mood shifted dramatically, from the vulnerable fiancée I once knew to this hostile person, eyes narrowed, voice dripping with disdain. She started pacing around my living room like she owned the place. Funny, my mom was right about you all along, she said. She said you'd never be able to provide the lifestyle I deserve, said you were too small time. That stung, not because it was true, but because it showed how she and her mom had been judging me all along based on my earnings. And now you're suing me over wedding deposits? She laughed, but without any real humor. Do you know who my family knows in this town? One call from my dad and your precious career is over. She genuinely thought she had a right to my money, to my future earnings, to a life funded by my hard work, and now she was threatening me. You should leave, I said quietly. You're making a huge mistake, she shot back, her voice turning icy. You have no idea what you're throwing away. I think I do. No, you don't, she hissed. When I'm done, you'll be lucky to find a job flipping burgers in this town. My family doesn't take kindly to disrespect, especially not from someone who should be grateful for being considered part of our world. She picked up her purse and headed for the door. Last chance, Travis. Drop this stupid lawsuit, sign the prenup, and maybe I can talk Mom into giving you another shot. The sheer audacity left me speechless. She was still acting like she was doing me a favor by marrying me. Goodbye, Amber. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. All I could think was that the woman I loved had never existed. She was just a mask Amber wore until she thought she didn't need it anymore. The next few weeks were a wild roller coaster. When they missed our final deadline at $22,000, my lawyer filed suit in county court. Dates were set, depositions scheduled, and we mentioned we'd be asking for her phone records as evidence. They thought they could squeeze me dry and walk away unscathed. No chance. 3 days after getting served, her lawyer suddenly wanted to talk settlement. Funny how fast their tune changed when they realized I was serious. The full $34,200 plus our $850 in legal expenses hit my account the next day. No more haggling needed. It was hard to believe it was actually over. After all those months, it wrapped up with a simple bank transfer. Sitting on my couch that night with a soda, I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Technically, I won, but it still felt like I lost something vital: my trust, my confidence in my own judgment, maybe even a bit of my optimism. But the kicker? About a week after the settlement, a mutual friend called, one who'd always been closer to Amber. She felt bad about staying quiet and wanted me to know the real story. That business contact? He turned out to be her boss's son, who hilariously dumped her once he realized she wasn't getting any of my money. Apparently, they'd been seeing each other for months, and he was the one who suggested she lock down her future before making any moves. He was basically coaching her through the whole ordeal, my friend explained. He told her to get as much as she could. So, they were planning to milk you for money and start fresh with a nice financial backup. This wasn't just cheating, it was a full-on financial scam with me as the bullseye. A buddy sent me some chats between him and Amber from a while back, and man, reading them made my blood boil. Amber was all, "Travis is such a pushover lol," and they were laughing about how gullible I was with the whole candle business idea. Her friend was like, "But what if he doesn't sign the prenup?" And Amber was super confident, "Oh, he will. Mom's got it handled. He's so desperate to join a real family he'll sign anything we shove at him. And if not, whatever, I'm looking for an upgrade anyway." Basically, I was just a stepping stone to her, something to use and toss when a better option came along. But get this, the real kicker came when Greg, her dad, saw the prenup during the legal process. He apparently lost it because it turned out he had no clue what Diane and Amber had been scheming. At all those dinners sitting silently, he wasn't just checked out, he was totally blindsided. A mutual friend said Greg saw the prenup and was like, "Wow, this is déjà vu. She's doing to him what she did to me." Greg realized Diane had also trapped him ages ago with a prenup that ended up transferring all his assets to her, leaving him completely reliant on her even though he was the main earner. Seeing what they tried with me made him go pale as a sheet. It was the last straw for him. Last month, after 33 years of marriage, Greg filed for divorce. The tipping point wasn't just Diane plotting with Amber, but also finding out they were sneaking money from his retirement into an account Diane controlled, which he discovered during the divorce process. You should have seen Diane's face when her lawyer told her about the divorce, my friend told me, with a bit of satisfaction. Diane screamed that Greg couldn't just leave her like that, not after all she'd done for him. When he wouldn't budge, she threatened to wreck his relationship with their kids. People in their social circle got wind of it quickly. Diane tried to spin it like Greg was having a midlife crisis, claiming he was mentally off, but by then folks were already suspicious because of the prenup drama with me. It was like a line of dominoes falling, first the wedding, then Amber's fling with her boss's son, then her parents' marriage, all because they tried to mess with me via the prenup. It felt like karma doing its thing. I didn't wish for any of this to happen, I just refused to be their victim, and the rest unfolded on its own. The friend group split right down the middle. A bunch swallowed Amber's story about me being controlling and sneaky with my assets, sending judgmental texts without even hearing me out. The other half reached out, saying they always felt something was off with her. "I always got a weird vibe from her mom," one friend told me over lunch. "Remember at your birthday how she kept grilling you about your promotion? Thought she was just nosy, but now it makes sense." Not gonna lie, the whole thing messed me up for a while. I felt like an idiot for not seeing it sooner but also relieved I caught it before the wedding. I kept replaying everything in my head, wondering if I missed any signs. It's hard not to question your judgment after something like that. Did I ignore red flags? Was I naive? These thoughts kept me up at night. But everything changed when I randomly bumped into Greg at a coffee shop. He looked different, lighter, like he'd shed a lifetime of weight. He came over and was like, "I owe you an apology. I should have spoken up at dinner." I just shrugged it off, understanding he was in a tough spot. 33 years, he said with a sad smile, but no more. He told me he'd moved into a cozy apartment, bought a motorcycle, and was seeing a kindergarten teacher he met at an art class. Diane hates her, he laughed. Says she's too simple. But she actually listens to me. He paused, trying to find the right words. It's peaceful. Then he leaned in, like he was about to spill some big secret, and said when Diane got the divorce papers, she went ballistic. She showed up at his place at midnight, causing a scene, claiming he owed her for wasting her life. She even called the cops, saying he stole his own car. Can you believe that? Then Amber backed her up in front of the police, calling Greg unstable. His own daughter. The sadness was written all over his face, yet he brushed it off and asked how I was doing. We talked about nothing important, which was kinda nice. Seeing him bounce back was uplifting. As we were wrapping up, he gripped my arm and said, "Travis, you didn't just dodge a bullet, you dodged a nuclear missile. What they tried would have destroyed you piece by piece until you didn't recognize yourself. I know because that's what happened to me. Don't ever doubt that you made the right call. Some people are just toxic, and you can't save them. You can only save yourself." Hearing that was a relief. Meanwhile, Amber keeps posting these wannabe deep quotes on Instagram about knowing your worth and not settling. Diane's still flapping her gums to anyone who will listen, calling me a financial abuser of all things. It's almost funny, like being called fat by a sumo wrestler. I heard she tried launching a wellness coaching gig, which is just recycled Instagram advice, total flop. Her boss's son is long gone, dating some yoga instructor now. Amber's been trying to act like the victim in all this, telling people I led her on only to dump her when things got real. She even took her sob story to our local Facebook group, seeking support for her healing journey from being financially abused. But people who knew us snapped back, calling her out with proof, and her post vanished in no time. As for me, I'm doing better than ever. That prenup was the best reality check I could have asked for. It revealed her true colors before I made a colossal mistake. Oh, and I took some of that $34,000 and spent a month in Thailand. Temple hopping, beach days, and food that was mind-blowingly good. It was the best decision ever. It gave me perspective. I'm dating again, but more cautiously now. No family introductions until I really know someone. Sometimes the red flags are hidden until they're waving right in your face, and when that happens, don't ignore them.